Hi and welcome back to Warframe. Today I thought we'd take another look at the Scindo Prime just because was it a hotfix or an update or two ago? They buffed all of the heavy weapons and this thing does 104 damage. Okay, the fire rate is still pretty low, but it's still faster than the normal one used to be. I mean, that's over 20 damage alone on the slash, 3 per puncture. The wall attack's quicker, the status is higher, the spin, the leap is higher, everything is better on this. The staminas are the same, the crit damage is the same, the channeling cost is the same, everything else is just better. So when it comes to this, we did former it once. We basically formatted out the stance mod so we could stick Cleaving Whirlwind in there, and that was it. The rest of it is exactly as it came with 1v, because having the extra 10 points available from the stance, I mean, if you can't build a powerful melee weapon with 70 points, there's something seriously wrong with your builds, because 70 points is a hell of a lot. I mean, if you're going to polarize it, what you want is probably a dash, maybe 2, though having 2 could mess up other builds, which is when you get into the fact you're going to have to justify forming 2, because if this is the corpus build, because we have 1 in here, 1 dash, it could have a problem. So this is the corpus build that we actually went for eventually, because just after I'd finished that bit, I noticed that the electrical damage mod only does 60% electrical damage. So scrap that. Fit focus energy in. There's no point in using Shocking Touch anymore. It has just become a useless mod because it only does 60% electrical damage and it takes up 11 points. Whereas you can have Focus Energy, which does 40% channeling efficiency and 60% electrical damage, and takes up 9 points. So you're saving 3 points and still getting the same damage. Biggest problem here is still the corpus build is the weakest of the 3, because North Wind and Focus Energy or Shocking Touch both only do 60% electrical damage. Obviously still the corpus build because the corpus mod is there. So we definitely go Focus Energy over Shocking Touch because it adds a little bit more efficiency to it. But the rest of it's still the same. We've got Life Strike, Killing Blow, Spoiled Strike, which is the lack of attack speed is countered by Fury, and Pressure Point. Which obviously then when it comes to the Grenier build, it's still exactly the same, apart from we swapped out North Wind for Fever Strike. Still taking up 11 points, but this time it's gone up to 90% on the damage. This is 90% toxin damage. As well as the Focus Energy, which creates the Corrosive, which goes on the Grenier. So hence Smite Grenier. That still gets me every time I see Focus Energy. I mean, where is it? I know it's I just moved it. Shocking Touch, where are you? We'll come back to that. The Infested build, which is pretty much where this weapon shines, mainly because compared to the other two, Fever Strike has 90% toxin damage and Molten Impact has 90% heat damage. Not 60, 90. The other two elemental mods are 60s now. These two have remained at 90s, which means this is doing 2329.6 leap and spin damage, as well as it does more elemental damage. And obviously with this thing having a slightly increased status chance, the status comes in really useful, as well as obviously the Smite Infested mod, with it being the Infested build. And it really did get me though. That's just as a quick example. Focus Energy, back to the Grenier build obviously. 60% electrical damage. We'll just throw Shocking Touch in here and 60% electrical damage. But it's an 11 point mod. Focus Energy is a 9. Why would you ever choose Shocking Touch over Focus Energy? I mean, that mod there has just become completely and utterly useless. That is a goddamn shame for the Shocking Touch. I mean, yes, okay, if you're going for a purely electrical build, you could have Shocking Touch, Focus Energy, the event mod that adds electrical damage. All three of them will increase the electrical damage a hell of a lot, but how many people just go with the electrical damage? And it just, it's pretty sad for that mod. If it was a 90%, yes, it would be justified them extra 3 points, but it's a 60. That's ruined that mod. But that's enough about that mod. We basically, the only thing we actually swapped on this was the stance. We swapped it from, is it rending or rendering? I can never remember. I think it was rending crane. We swapped it to cleaving whirlwind because it is just a better stance in my opinion. There is better ones, but that thing just, it's really, really, really nice. The animation's nice behind it, and using it against the infested, the constant spinning means they can't get to you because they get too close to you and you just hit them with a melee. Problem comes when you dizzy out of that. You've got to make sure you come out, I think it's after the 3rd or 4th swing round, manually come out of it instead of letting it kick you out, because then you can fairly quickly jump back into it. Because if it kicks you out, it does that dizzy animation, and that can actually lead to some serious damage if you take this against high level enemies. But it is a hell of a fun weapon. Did like it. And the more I actually think about it, the Voltic Strike mod, the dual stat event mod that does 60% electrical damage, is a 7 capacity mod. Not an 11 like the normal one that does one thing. It's a 7 and still does the same damage. Why would they do that to Shocking Touch? And how did I not notice that before? I mean, it's a force of habit when it comes to melee weapons. I've got certain mods that go on each one. And, Voltic Strike would definitely be the way to go. Hell yes. But we're not going to concentrate on that because it's not available within the game. So Focus Energy, all the way. But I mean, Focus Energy, Voltic Strike, both do 60% electrical damage. And so does Shocking Touch. That's a damn shame. But anyway, we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.